Hi, I'm Terry Hicks, and I am with It's All Good Catering Service. It is all mine. We're going to do some mahi-mahi seafood tonight. Mahi-mahi fish, we're going to pan sear it on the stove and then throw it into the oven, finish cooking it there. We'll do some sauteed shrimp and some garlic cheesy pasta, along with white albino squash and some ground turkey in a casserole. And we'll of course have some broccoli to top it off, and of course some bell peppers and onions and such to marinate it in. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to do is peel the squash. My mother used to call cutting up the bell peppers and the green onions putting the funk in the food. My mom and my grandma actually taught me everything I know about the kitchen. My grandma taught me that from scratch. She's one of those Southern belles from Texas and believed in doing everything from scratch. All the love in food and everything else. So that's where I got that from. So in our family, you actually learned how to cook at a very early age, 10 years old. I was always the one selected to figure out what the meal was. I was either spending time in the kitchen with my grandmother, or I was inventing things at my home kitchen, in my mom's house. And then as a teenager in high school, a friend of mine, we used to spend a lot of time doing things like having dinner parties and having friends over. Things that were unheard of for people our age, but it was so much fun. I kind of like the flavor of onions, so I just kind of peel this outside layer off and chunk it up and throw it in the pan in some butter. Yes, I know, I use butter. I don't like all the oil. I like the flavor that the butter gives it, but I don't use a lot of butter. So we're going to turn this back skillet on here and get that started, getting ready to just kind of caramelize those onions and get it started. Nice little chunk of butter in there. We'll get that going while we cut up the onions and get the squash cut up. So we'll throw this in the pan. So we'll get that in the pan and get that started. I have some minced garlic. Love garlic. So we're going to grab the garlic out of the refrigerator. The minced garlic already cut up, of course, make it a little simpler on us. Here we go. Okay. It's okay. And we'll put that away for now. Let's just keep it out. We'll use that on the fish too. So while that's starting up, let's go ahead and chunk this up the rest of the way. We are using the seeds and everything in the squash. Okay, so we're going to add a little bit of water. Not much. Just enough to keep the squash from burning. I actually put that on medium, on the squash on medium, so that we'll go ahead and start cooking. It doesn't take long because you want to get it to the point that it's soft. Just take the inside with the seeds and the bell pepper, just take it straight on out, and I chop. Once again, I leave it kind of big because the flavor will come out of it. You know, the red bell pepper is a little sweeter. But it's also because bigger, it makes much prettier splashes of color in your food. We're going to take a few of these and throw them in the pan over here. So let's cut up some of these other peppers too. Now these peppers have a little bit of fire to them. And these we're just going to cut the ends off, and we're going to have the round portion of the pepper. We're going to leave some of that seed in there so that we actually get some of the fire of that seed. What's food without a little bit of kick in it? But now let's go ahead and get that fish started. We're going to turn the skillet on. We'll put the skillet on about medium because we just want to get that skillet nice and hot. Add a little bit of oil in there. So we have the mahi-mahi. We're going to take this out now, and we'll do a nice little covering over it. Nice piece of fish, enough for 2 people. Has the skin on it still, but that's actually going to be quite all right, because once we cook it, we'll cook the skin down, and then the skin will kind of stick to the pan just a little bit so that you can peel the fish off of it and you don't have to eat that skin too. So with that, going to the spice cabinet. And see, I get a lot of my spices from Ethiopia, so they're fresh ground spices, very good with reusing containers because it saves room and it actually looks much better than Ziploc bags in your cabinet. And this is a nice little season, nice little blend of homemade seasonings, my own little special concoction here. And then panko to give it a nice little breaded flavoring without all the extra from frying food. So we're going to use some panko to give it a nice little crunch to it. So we're going to go ahead and sprinkle a little bit of everything. You don't need a lot for your, we don't need a lot of seasoning. And once I get it all on here, I'll kind of rub it in. Another little thing that adds some nice little flavor is some spicy mustard. Got to be careful with this stuff. This stuff is super spicy. And then of course some curry. Since this is the Indian curry, it is a little hot, spicier than most curry is. So we don't need too much. We just want just enough to add some oomph to it. And you heard me say you can never do too much garlic. I love garlic. Garlic's actually very medicinal. So we want to throw some garlic in there too. We're going to take some panko. It's actually an Asian thing, but you know, it has no calories, nothing like that. And it also is much healthier for you than using breadcrumbs, which we'll probably use some of this in the casserole too. But it's much healthier than breadcrumbs and much healthier than frying. Sounds like our pans are getting ready over there. Okay, here we go. And we're just going to pan sear that on one side for about 5 minutes, and then we'll flip it over and get the other side, and then we'll throw it in the oven, which I have set on 350, and we'll do that for about another 20 minutes. Fish doesn't take a long time, but this is going to sear in the juices, and it's going to go ahead and take in that flavor. So as you see, we have it nice and caramelized in here. We can add a little bit more butter. It doesn't matter that things are browning in there. That kind of happens when you throw the garlic and all that stuff together. So we're not going to add a whole lot of seasoning to this, but I want to add a little bit of the my little special spice mix, which I'm not going to tell you what it is, and just a little bit of the curry. Just enough so that when you start biting into the cooked vegetables, you actually get some flavor in there. You see how that just brings it and browns it a little bit? So we'll let that cook for about 5 more minutes, and then we'll get that in the oven. In the meantime, we're going to go ahead and get these shrimp peeled and get them ready to go. So we have the shrimp here. We just have to peel the shell off of it. They're already deveined. I love shrimp, so we're going to leave these shrimp whole, but sometimes, depending on how many people you're cooking them for, you might want to cut them up. But if you're going to cut them up, you might want to use the bigger ones. And I have about 15 shrimp here. Not a whole lot of shrimp. It doesn't need to be a whole lot when there's only 2 people eating it. Although, I don't have to really give too much to the cameraman. Okay, so I said that and he heard me, so that probably won't work very well. And as you see, he's shaking his head no right along with the camera. So we'll try to figure that part out, you know. I'll try to find a way to taste a little bit more than he does. But, you know, gotta take care of the, oops! And he took the camera away. Okay, so I guess I will make sure that he gets the bigger helping, seeing that he's bigger than I am too. So we'll make sure that he gets the bigger helping, and he's a happy person. There we go, thumbs up. So I kind of need a little helping hand here, and we'll see if we can get a little helping hand, because you know, of course, can't sweat in the food, can't be cute and sweating and dripping. Yes, yes. Helping hands are good things. So, before I do anything else with the shrimp, gonna wash the hands up again real quick. So we're just gonna take this as is. Notice not a lot of oil in there. We're just gonna leave it as is and go ahead and throw that in the oven. And look at those vegetables. See how that's caramelizing up real good? That's gonna be really pretty and full of flavor. So we're gonna go ahead and get this marinating in the, sauteing in the butter. We'll add some garlic in there and a little bit of spice, not much. And of course, washing the hands again. So here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Terry, because it was my birthday this week. Happy birthday to you. Of course, by the time you see this, it probably won't be my birthday this week, but it was when I was cooking it. Oh, that looks absolutely divine. Look at that. Gotta put some curry in there. Since I just happen to have a Caribbean helper here, so he likes that curry and that hot spicy stuff. So in that case, why don't we throw a little mitmata in there? When my brother-in-law's family found out that I was running a catering business and using international spices, you'll notice very, very little of what I use will actually be from America. I actually contacted them and told them what I was doing. Well, he told them what I was doing, and they were very thrilled about sending me fresh ground spices from Ethiopia. So, we'll see you in a little while when everything's ready, and we'll put it out on the table and let you get a good look at it. So, finished project here. Here we go. We have the pasta with the shrimp, some imitation crab meat, the cheese. Then we have the vegetables. We have this is the squash casserole. And then we have the fish. Looks good, doesn't it? So we'll sprinkle just a little bit more of the Parmesan on there. And of course, just to dress it up, and I'm not gonna grind it up. I want the oregano nice and whole. So I'm gonna take it out of here and sprinkle a little bit on it. Pretty, huh? I'm not always one for pretty. Sometimes pretty's not always good. But when you're serving someone else, try to make it look nice. Add a little bit of color, lots of spices, and you're good to go. Spices, flavor, enjoy. A little bit of pretty, good food, good friends, and you're good to go. Enjoy.